Okay, ma'am, you have the floor.
Recording in progress.
Thank you so much, Twan. Good evening to the citizens of Douglas County and also to the members of the Douglas County Fire and EMS Committee. Today is October 4th, 2022, and it's now 2:05 p.m. We apologize for our lateness, but we had just a little technical difficulty. I'll start off by calling this meeting to order. Certainly, and we'll start with just roll call. And what I'll do, I'll just call your names to make it go more, make it more efficient. Chairman Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones, I'm present, and when I call your name, if you're present, just acknowledge that. Vice Chairman Ann Jones Guyder, Deputy County Administrator Fred Perry,
Present.
Chief Financial Officer Ramona Bivens. I think I see a photograph up here. Okay, Finance Director Rosalind Miller.
Present.
Okay, Fire Chief and EMS Director Roderick B. Jolivet.
You're on mute, Chief.
You're on mute, Chief.
Oh, present. Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Fire Chief of Operations Miles Allen.
Present.
Deputy Fire Chief of CRR Training Pablo Lugo.
Present.
Deputy Fire Chief of Administration Eric Phillips. I think I heard you. Are you here, Eric Phillips? Okay. And EMS Chief Stacy Farmer.
Here.
And Mr. John Reed.
Present.
I believe I've captured all the members. If I have not, please make me aware of the team. Okay. Thank you all. So we are all present and accounted for today. So we do have a quorum in case we need to vote on anything, some things too. Chief, it's two sets of minutes that I want to make sure the approval process takes place, and I'll start with that, and then I'll hand the meeting over to you, Chief. We have committee, and I'm hoping that you had an opportunity, or I'm optimistic you had an opportunity to review the minutes from September 6th and September 12th. And certainly I will call for a motion to approve. I'll start with this September 6th first. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes for September 6th, 2022. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any discussion about the minutes from September 6th, 2022? Okay. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Okay, the ayes have it and the motion carries. We're gonna move, have one more set of minutes we need to bring through for the approval process. That's the minutes from September 12th, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. You can't approve it.
No, you can, if we both said it at the same time.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for the approval of the September 12th, 2022 meeting minutes. We have a motion and a second. When I won't call your name. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, any nays? No nays. And with that being said, the motion carries to approve the minutes of September 12th, 2022. All right, Chief Jolivet, I am handing the meeting over to you. Fire Chief, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Guyder, distinguished guests, Deputy Administrator Fred Perry, and to our panel and to our citizens. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. Today we're going to talk about our old business, starting out with Station 4 Fair Play update. Right now we're in the process of the temporary housing or berthing for our personnel. That is on site, on premise. They've hooked up the plumbing and the sewer system to it, the water. They're in the process of getting the stairs and the porch put in, so that the members will have a place to enter the building, and doing the cleaning and all that stuff. There are minor repairs to it, so we're excited about that. And in terms of the building, we're still in the process of plans review. We're at the last stages of it. It's on the fire side. So we're working with the architect to get those plans approved, and so they can get the project actually started for the demolition and everything. We're a few weeks behind schedule, but they're planning on catching up with everything once they get the plans and get started. We have ordered the SPLOST signs to go out. The contractor will be putting out a big sign, and we'll be putting out several small signs talking about the SPLOST and the pennies and improvements made possible. We're working on, we have the signs already. Sign shop makes signs up, and we'll be getting the material to mount those signs. Working with David Good, our SPLOST coordinator. We also have mailings that went out. We did such a good job with mailings. We actually sent mailings to properties that didn't have any houses on them. So we went overboard. What we're going to do, we're going to use it as an opportunity to take those flyers out and canvass the neighborhood and talk about fire prevention and fire safety, and let the citizens know that we're concerned about their safety, especially about being fire prevention month in October. So we'll be doing that, knocking on doors, one-on-one canvassing, talking about smoke alarms and stuff like that. It's part of our community engagement piece. So we're looking forward to doing that. But right now we've done the mailing part of it. We got the berthing set up, and then once we get the plans completed, and we'll be moving into the demolition and construction phase. One thing they found out was that they don't have to have the septic system out there. It's already hooked to the system with the school system on it. So that's going to save some money right there on the project itself. So any questions on the Station 4 update? Okay,
I just had one comment. You said you did send letters out to the community.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We got Melissa Laredo. You there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
How we go about getting that list up? Because we got with you want to speak on that right quick? So how we get the list up for the mailings?
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I contacted the GIS manager, Mr. Edward Dean.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to give me a list of all the addresses in that area. And we proceeded to get this in a mail merge and have these sent out to that area there with the letters.
Very good. That's great. That's exciting. I believe that was one of the requests I had.
Yes.
Fire chief, I said make sure that we provide notification to the citizens in that particular area that utilizes that fire station. And that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
Any other questions on Station 4? And the members out there, like I say, they're excited about getting started and all that. And they had one request was to put some concrete barriers up near the building so nobody would drive into the building. They have a little bit of sense of security there. So the contractor agreed to get that worked out, and it'll be coordinated with our personnel to make sure that it's done and all stuff. Other than that, we're excited about the project. Alrighty.
Very good.
Station 9, that's on the list. Station 9, which is Douglas Hill and Thornton Road. We had a special call meeting on September 12th asking that we move forward with the proposed design of the project. And that design was it's going to keep us within budget, and we could continue on moving on with the project towards getting everything ready to proceed with the design and architecture part of the piece of it. And with that, they were able to go ahead and start working on getting the soil samples and getting everything laid out in terms of the area. So far preliminary, it's a beautiful layout. We met with Miguel, James Worthington, squash coordinator, Mr. Gable. We talked about some preliminary stuff as far as where the entry would be, where the exit would be. We had a preliminary meeting about the building, proposed layout of the building and everything. That went really well. So we're on schedule. They have a long list of things that have to be done, but they're looking at if everything goes as planned, we'll be able to get the keys to that building and start operating out of it on May 1st of 2024. And so that timeline is there now. We'll send that information out, and it's a lot of steps in between there that we'll have to be dealing with, like for us to bid on the project, all kind of things. But they're looking at having everything done and ready for us to take over that building May 1st of 2024, which is good news for that area, for the community. Those are just the preliminaries. There's still a lot of things have to be done, and you'll be providing information as it unfolds, and we'll continue to move forward with that project. It's a 4-bay project, and it's like I said, we needed it for that area for our ISO and being able to get to our industrial area and all that good stuff. So that's what we have thus far with Station 9. Any questions on Station 9? The goal is to stay within budget and go ahead and get the project moving so we can try to get ahead of or stay up with inflation. You don't want inflation to get us too far down the road. And in terms of personnel, we have submitted a plan for personnel in the 2023 budget because it's going to take about maybe 10, 11 months to get our personnel trained and ready to go. And also we've already started to plan for the personnel. So we're excited about that, but we also are excited about, we put in for a $10 million grant, which is $3.3 million roughly per year for over 3 years. And we're still in the running for that grant. They're making awards as I speak, and we're hoping that Douglas County will be awarded that particular grant, and that will help us with that'll help our citizens with defraying the cost of putting personnel in that building. So we it's a ripe situation for grant. We build a new building for the community, and so I feel strongly that we meet all the criteria for that grant. So hopefully, when the smoke clears, we'll be awarded that grant. So we want to be keeping our fingers crossed and praying for that. It'd be a game changer for the community and for us.
And that's for personnel?
Yes, ma'am. Personnel.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So it's the hiring grant, and we put in for 45 people, and that's including the benefits and everything that go along with that. And so it comes out to be 3.3 something million per year.
Mm-hmm.
So they still have a lot of money left to award, and we want to be in that number. And like I say, it's a well-written grant, and we just open it. And there's no matching. That's the most important thing. There's not any matching involved with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, our CFO will be happy to receive that check to start help us out here. But anyway, any other questions about Station 9, I think?
Yeah.
All righty. Next business item is the 2 tanker pumpers that we've been talking about. Some good news came in on those. We were thinking they were going to be around $561,000 each. That's including loose equipment. And the actual numbers, they were able to look at some things and discounts and all. It came in right under $400,000 and some change per vehicle. So that in itself is a $200,000 to $300,000 savings in terms of the pumper tanker trucks. So what we did was we submitted the information to our procurement to take a look at, was the cooperative purchase agreement. And we also copied our finance CFO who's been involved with it the whole time, her Ms. Rosalind. And then we forwarded that document to legal. Our deputy director, Mr. Perry, put a timeline of October 20th to have the legal documents available and being able to be signed by the chairman. So we are ahead of schedule on that. It's already in legal hands, and once legal take a look at everything, we can get those documents signed so we can go ahead and get that vehicle, those two vehicles assigned to us, so we can do a requisition, all that kind of stuff. So we're ahead of the game on that. And like I said, they are, for people who really hadn't heard about them, those two vehicles will be serving our east corridor, our west corridor, and also out on I-20. We'll be able to take care of I-20 as well. And they'll cover the rural areas of Douglas County, east side and the west side. East side going toward Atlanta, and the west side going toward Alabama. So we're ahead of schedule on that, and I'd just like to thank the Chairwoman Jones and Commissioner Guider and everybody for having that vision and idea and forward thinking, because it's going to help us on our ISO in terms of having available water supply and just being available to do things we need to do to take care of citizens. Any questions on the two tanker pumpers trucks? All right, those tankers, they'll have the ability to pump water as well. We have dump valves on them. We can dump water into an area where we can draft out of. And so it's just another some more tools we have to take care of our citizens. All righty, we'll move on to the QRVs. Our 4 QRVs, they are here in the parking lot. We submitted a solicitation for equipment for those QRVs. The first solicitation went out. It went out and closed within like 3 or 4 days, I think it was, maybe 5. We had nobody that bid it on it. People asked questions about it, but nobody actually submitted a proposal on it. But we did have it open again. It was opening up again, and we did have somebody today. As of today, they had one company that put in for that solicitation, and it came in right at about $97,000, and that's for 4 trucks, camper tops, lights, sirens, all the things they need to go out and be safe and serve in the community. So in terms of the QRVs, we're excited to get those, and they're going to be a big help to us. And Chief Farmer, you out there?
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, what does the QRVs mean for us as for the EMS model?
The QRVs are going to be a game changer. That is going to be where our roving paramedics will be responding out of. It's going to help with a lot of our more community needs type of approach for paramedicine. It really is going to be a game changer. Having those units be able to respond to our really high acuity patients or the patients that really need a comprehensive care plan.
And rather than having a large ladder truck and an ambulance go to a sick call, we'll be able to send a QRV and an ambulance. And then that way we can save on fuel. We can have those other engines, paramedic engines and ladders in the station, working with fire training, stuff like that. So we'll be able to do more with less, so to speak. So it's a little bit of time consuming, but once we get those up, when do you expect to have those up, Chief Farmer?
We're looking at 6 to 8 weeks. And really the delay in that is the camper shells. You can't get the camper shells.
Yeah, there's a great demand for the camper shells, believe it or not. So, but we're working on that project, and once we get everything up, we're going to have a opportunity to showcase what we have, what the citizens have put together for us and allow us to do. So we're looking forward to that as well. Just wanted to give y'all an update on the QRVs. Any questions on QRVs? Quick response vehicles?
We're excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
All right, and the next thing is we're RFP for a burn building. We asked for that some time ago, and the procurement director has assured me that she'll be getting that to us real soon. She had to clean the language up, and she looked at all the requirements and all the specs and everything. So that's going to be good for us. The last time we did that, when we built that facility, a training facility, I think Deputy Lugo, you say it was how many years ago? 15 years ago, 15 plus?
Yes, sir. It's we've been using it constantly for since 2015.
Okay.
Multiple times a year.
All right, and that facility, what's so great about it is we have a lot of municipalities that come in and train with us. Atlanta Fire Department. Who else, Chief Lugo?
We've had Forest Park, we've had Atlanta, we've had Fairplay, we've had who else?
We have a lot of international people come in too.
Yeah, we had firefighters from Saudi Arabia come in with the International Association of Fire Chiefs. They've used it twice. So yeah, there's a lot of people, local and out of state and international, that use it.
Now, they've done a lot of good things for us too, as far as being able to come in and all. So we're looking to get that burn building state of the art, and we'll probably we'll get with our CFO and our finance personnel, and we'll look at some kind of user agreement probably in the future, so we can have some help with it when we get ready to get another one. But it's been good use. We trained a lot of people in that building. I think, Chief Lugo, you looked at the numbers, and within the last year and a half, 2 years, how many firefighters do you think we've trained in that burn building?
Everybody who's used it, probably about 3,000.
Yeah, and then we have night fires, training fires coming up is it November?
In November, we'll have night training fires for the field. Yes, sir.
So we'll be in there using that facility, and so it gets great use. And what it does is give us some simulated training. So when we go in house fires and stuff like that, we have the training and skill sets we need to be able to do our job in terms of rescue and stuff like that. So just wanted to bring you up to speed on that burn building. We're looking to hopefully have a new burn building in place after we do the RFP on it and get some bids on it. And thank you, Commissioner Guider, for sending us the information that you sent us. I think from a conference you went to about burn buildings and facilities, so we thank you for that. We're looking at all that data. Any questions on our burn building? Just want to bring it to the committee, let them know we're still working on it. The board have already blessed it and everything, and we're just working on taking care of the rest.
Okay.
I have a question, and I hope it's not one that's, I guess they say no question is the stupidest question unless you don't ask. On this burn building, what is the threshold in terms of how many times you can burn the building? You know what I'm saying? It probably has a life expectancy if you keep burning it. I know, I'm not sure what type of materials you use. Is it a 10 years lifespan, or what is it?
Well, what it is, every 5 years, the NFPA 1403, 1402 standards require that it be inspected by a structural engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And once that structural engineer go in there, they determine whether it's usable or not. And we're in the process of actually doing that now to make sure it's feasible to use. And our safety instructors, they're trained to realize if the building is safe or not for somebody to go in there or not. But we do that extra layer of protection to that structural engineer. So this building has, with the amount of fire and the amount of usage it received, looking to the future, it's time to look at getting a new one. But the most important thing that got stuck out to me is when you go in there now, you may rip your turnout fans if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cost, isn't it? Look up.
Yeah, turnout gear is it is a cost right now. Turnout gear, one set of turnout gear is about $3,700.
Yeah,
and that's why we put in our budget to go to rental set for our new people. We can train with the rental set, and if something happens, we don't have to. They take care of all the repair work and all that. But in the past, we had put them in a new set of turnout gear and put them in that training facility, and we found out that it wasn't cost effective, and we didn't want to have to face the CFO or some of our financial people just by while we're. So what we've been doing is looking at ways to get the training and also cut our costs.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions about the burn building? All right, well, we'll move on to our new business, COVID-19 update. I noticed that this came up today in our commission meeting about the COVID numbers. Chief Farmer, do you have any updates for us?
COVID looks good. Our COVID numbers do. We had 2 staff members in September that tested positive, and we transported 20 patients in September. So compared to where we were in January, the 195 patient transports, we're looking great. Community spreads in a low range, so we're happy about that.
Awesome. Now I have a question for anybody who want to answer. I have a prize. What are the 3 W's?
Chief, I know you don't want me to say it. I said I was a broken record for 2.5 years.
All right.
I will allow the committee members
Yes.
to chime in. Anybody know what the 3 W's are?
Wear a mask,
Wash your hands repeatedly.
wash your hands, and
Watch your social distancing.
Okay.
Yes.
Wear your mask. So
see, I don't adhere to them, so
we still encourage, especially our responders when we're out in the field.
I go by memory.
Yeah, we still our responders since day one they've been practicing.
I do wash my hands.
We've been practicing this since day one and responding because we don't want to give our patients anything, so we always try to protect them. So anyway, the COVID numbers, like you said, they are looking good, and hopefully everything's getting back to normal. I know the courthouse and everything have relaxed again on the mask and all, but still we're doing what we have to. All right, no questions on that. Employee retention. This is a big one for us. We look at recruitment and retention, and one thing we're doing with retention is we are putting together a yearbook for our personnel, all the activities, all the things that's been done. So people are excited about that. They have their picture in the book and some of their accomplishments. So that's part of our retention, as well as a pay study right now that is going on with our leaders. They're looking at a pay study for our personnel in terms of compression and all that. So all those things are very exciting times for our members. It's helping out with retention and members that are getting our buy-in. You know, we're changing our culture to be one that we continue to take care of ourselves and also the community. So our retention is worth mentioning. Our numbers, when we get to the numbers section, the next item, you're gonna hear some very exciting news. We actually, since the weekend, we've hired 2 full-time paramedics. We hired 2 part-time paramedics, 1 full-time AEMT and part-time AEMT. So we have, right now, throughout our region, a lot of people are looking at us. They like our benefits. They like our the things we're doing in the community with our community engagement. So it's paying off. And right now we're running out of employee position numbers. And that's a good thing, because that means that our staffing levels are getting where they need to be, and we're able to take care of that community. Any questions on employee retention?
Yeah, so how many are you short, if you are short?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Paula, you want to step up and take on that personnel update with the stats and everything?
Yes, to follow on with what you said, Fire Chief Philibet, in the hiring over the weekend. We have 12 open positions, Madam Geiger.
And in those 12 open positions, Chief Farmer, Chief Lugo, how long have we been, let's talk about those 12 openings.
Oh my gosh,
Have we seen numbers like that?
it's been
It's been
years.
years.
Before COVID, we were mid-20s. Before COVID, at the peak of COVID, I think we were 40. We were over 40 at one
Yes.
point with how bad the shortage had gotten, the workforce shortage.
Well, I don't know if you watched the sheriff when he was saying they were 52 short. So we need to find out what y'all did to close that gap.
Well, I know.
The signing, didn't you start a sign-on bonus or something?
Yes, ma'am. One thing, we've been successful because of our senior leadership and the commissioners and everything. Y'all have given us all the tools we need to be competitive. So that sign-on bonus, just different things, flexibility, versatility is really gonna start to pay off now. And Mr. Perry, Deputy Administrator Perry, when the person came in and done the study on our organization, he made a comment. He said, 80% of y'all personnel have 4 years or less. He said, that's impressive. And that's another,
Yep.
that's another recruitment tool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that means that the people that come here have an opportunity to advance and do whatever they want to do, and we had such a great department prior to me coming. A lot of people stayed 29, 30, 35. So that's what happened. They left a great department, retired, and then we're attracting people that buy into the culture. We tell people we can't pay you what everybody else paying. We can pay the best we can pay and offer good culture, offer good benefits, and be transparent. So that's what's helping us out in terms of our numbers.
Okay, thank you.
So we're looking forward to continue to build a good organization and taking care of the public. All right. Any questions on updates? Personnel updates? Other questions? All right. Going on to number 4. We're talking about our assets, inventory assets, and we're doing something that's departmental wide. All our facilities. We want to know. We want to put a value on our tangible assets. We want to know what we're doing, what we have, and that's going to help us in terms of how we order, how we deal with supply chain management. And Deputy Chief Lugo, and Chief Allen, can y'all speak on this? What we're trying to do in terms of our inventory assets, and then we're going to talk about the software that we're going to need to complement this.
Okay. We started yesterday with Station 10, and basically we are doing a top to bottom inventory of everything in the station, everything on the trucks, everything from air conditioners to Band-Aids, and everything in between. We'll take serial numbers and get all that information, make, models, serial numbers, how old they are, the estimated cost of the equipment, and right now we're putting in an Excel spreadsheet to be able to then put into our system, hopefully a new system coming up, and Chief Palmer can tell you a little bit more about that. But we started with Station 10 yesterday. I should have everything finalized by tomorrow on Station 10, and then we'll move to another station.
And Chief Allen, you want to speak on some of this stuff that's going on?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. And just to reiterate, basically, it's basically a giant blitz. We have 3 main goals for this inventory. Goal number 1 is the interior inventory. We're checking everything on the inside. Goal number 2 is the exterior inventory. And the final goal, which a lot of times get missed, is the firefighting inspection, and where we have our inspectors go around and we do a thorough inspection of our own facilities. More than likely, it encompasses our NFPA guidelines, and we're going to be hitting all stations.
And so this is going to be something that we've been doing, but we really doing a deep dive, and we want to tie that to our new inventory software that we want to discuss, which is our next item. It's kind of go hand in hand. And Chief Farmer, can you speak on what that inventory software look like and how it's going to benefit us in terms of our EMS consumables and all that good stuff?
Sure. For 2022, we had about a $400,000 budget for our consumables. That's fire EMS, and all of our consumables combined. And we've been managing those via Excel spreadsheet. We do have an asset tracker. It's pretty antiquated. It doesn't hit consumables at all. But what we'd like to be able to do is to pull this data into an actual software program that will allow us to track our trends. It'll allow us to keep track of our expiration dates. A lot of medical equipment, you have a 1-year expiration date. It's going to allow us to rotate that stock better, help us just with cost savings and accuracy, and knowing where all of our consumable supplies are at any time. So the big benefit is going to be, of course, with the EMS equipment. That's about $270,000 that we spend annually right now. Of course, that price is going up with inflation, but $270,000 annually, and we'd like to be able to have a better tracking system, which is actually going to require a software program, not just an Excel spreadsheet. So that's the ask. We did reach out to several different vendors. We've got some close processing done. The range of cost was anywhere from $10,000 up to $28,000 annually. And the one that we really are excited about going with is actually one that partners with one of our main EMS vendors who has a rebate program. So the cost for us is going to be half of what it would typically be. So that's, of course, an added benefit as well.
Now what we're doing as well is we have several meetings set up, one with our purchasing manager. Then once we get the information on what purchasing requirements and everything look like, then we're going to move on to our finance and see, can we go ahead and look at those numbers and see what can we do to get this inventory system started. Because we're going to save money right away with it, and also accountability. And we got something called the 2 M's, and that, Deputy Chief, what are the 2 M's?
Measure and manage.
Measure and manage. If we can measure it, we can manage it. So we're trying to put systems in place to make sure we can measure good so we can manage good. And by doing that, we're being good stewards, and we're taking care of the citizen assets. So that's where we are with that. Any questions on those initiatives? Go ahead.
If do you use like a handheld scanner to enter all this inventory into the system?
That's what we're trying to go to. Well, we have a scanner, but the scanner that we're using is not compatible, and we're trying to go to a system that will allow scanning as well as barcoding, and that way we can do more. We can track our stuff more with the computer and everything, knowing the expiration dates and all that. So
to eliminate data entry, you can just scan it.
Yes, ma'am. And so we want to bring it to the committee, let them know, and looks like the financial cost on it, like Chief Foreman said, is not going to be as bad because we get discounts and all by some of the consumables we're buying from our vendors and all. So we'll be bringing more information on that. Just wanted to get y'all input on it and what y'all thought about the process that we're using right now.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm excited because number one, you want to focus on the inventory terms and also the expiration dates that Chief Farmer mentioned, particularly on those medical supplies. So I don't know what the cost may be, but it's going to outweigh our inefficiencies right now. So it's going to really be a cost savings to the organization because you'll be able to capture and use your medical equipment. And I'm hoping y'all use the last in, first out method. You have the LIFO and FIFO method. So hopefully you use that so you can turn that inventory, make sure you capture, utilize it before it expires. And then also there's a component related to inventory that would allow you to, and Chief Farmer, maybe you can help me. In healthcare, certainly in hospitals, we use the sticker system, and I know Commissioner Guida was saying use a scanner. It would scan directly. Once you pull the sticker off the equipment, you can scan it to the patient far as billing. So I know we have a billing system. Are you planning on doing anything that would link to the patient as well, for charging, for supplies?
We put into the 2023 budget, the other modules that are in with this ESO inventory asset management. If you purchase all of those modules, they do link together, and you can pull exactly what you're talking about, where you have the sticker system and pull it into an itemized list.
Right.
So we're hoping, and we put that in the budget.
And then also something out there is called bundling charges. You know, you may just have one pack and you just charge the pack, and it'll capture everything that's within that pack. Or either you have like an median average cost. You just have an average cost for everything that's within that bundle. And that's what healthcare is using now versus trying to capture all those little bitty pieces. But sometimes you wear yourself out trying to chase stickers. But I like the idea. We need something more sophisticated than just an Excel spreadsheet. So thank you all for moving us into the 21st century again. Thank you all.
And basically what's happening is our call volume and everything is grown to a model that we have to grow with it in order to be competitive, in order to be, take care of people and all. So like I say, we're excited about that. And thank you all for your support. I mean, you can't say it enough. Any other questions about those initiatives? Now, one thing that Chief Farmer didn't mention is we've been talking about the whole time with the committee is we're going to be reevaluating all our charges and everything and coming up with some things that's going to help us. And that bundle that Chairman Jones talked about, that's going to be part of that discussion, and we'll be certainly talking about that in the future with our Deputy County Administrator and the rest of the panel on how we can make sure that we're getting the best we can get with our services that we're providing. So that's going to be part of some of our initiatives that we'll be talking about the new year as well. All right. Well, item number 6.
Chief,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
one thing that just kind of came to mind, we're using for healthcare, we're using, how do you say it, velocity or something like that?
Veracity.
Okay. I wonder if we can buy some of our supplies through them at a discount, because they also go into Canada to get some of their.
Veracity is for Commissioner Guiders. That's for our pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, it's for pharmaceuticals.
Well, I mean to get our pharmaceuticals, because the fire department uses pharmaceuticals.
I'm just not sure.
If there's any way we can talk with them to see that if you can get some of those.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Some of the medications.
The medications from them at a big discount, because it certainly has saved us on the individual case.
Madam Guider, I can connect the fire chief, tell that with MSI to see if that is possible.
Okay.
To see if there's anything that we can do in that regard. It's certainly worth investigating.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a good point.
Make a note of that. All right. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, anything we can do to make things better is just it's better on our citizens, it's better on us as well.
Chief, I would like it if we could to, and I know you all are probably using the Six Sigma lean approach, to look at your duplicity within your medications and supplies. You may be using various vendors. Can you just standardize and just go with one? So that'll trim your costs down. But if you order them from everybody and you have a different ACE bandage for this person and a different, just a splint for someone, if you all could just look at who you're using for your suppliers and vendors.
Yes, ma'am. And that's one thing that Chief Farmer, since she's been in there, she's been really working to research and find the best. And I know right now we got one supplier that does a lot of our stuff, and they are connected with a lot of other partners and all, and they're bringing us reduced rates and all. So we're definitely, Chief Farmer, are we doing some of that now? We
absolutely are. Agile and Six Sigma that is my heart right there. Absolutely love those process flows. We've gone from probably about 8 different vendors down to about 3.
Very good.
Yeah, I don't know if we could go any lower. Some of our stuff is allocated equipment that's back ordered, and so that's the only reason why we don't have a single supplier, is just for those type of instances. So
Yeah, 3 is usually common. That's good. You need 3 because again, you always have a backup vendor in case the supply is low with one company. You can certainly utilize. We call it a primary, secondary, and a third vendor. Is that what you're calling it, Chief Farmer?
I don't really have a name or title. Yes,
I have my medical hat on.
Yes, we do have a primary vendor that we go to. Absolutely, that's the one that we'd like to partner with this software program. We already spend to get the rebate on this inventory module. We get it already as our primary vendor.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on. Like I say, it's exciting times, and that's why I work 8 days a week, because I enjoy it. The next item is our PPE, which is our
personal protective equipment.
Yes, ma'am. Our personal protective equipment. They have a life cycle, 10 years, but also in years past, there was 2 sets. Everybody had 2 sets, and you get 1 set contaminated and all. We would take it and decon it because of the cancers and all this stuff, and we had another set we could get in and continue with providing services. So we are looking at doing some purchasing for PPE for our personnel. So we'll be talking possibly RFP, some PPE. We're talking grants and all that, but there is some savings that we have discovered in our reimbursables for our SPLOST savings from the tanker trucks and additional monies that may be available to them. So we'll be discussing that with finance and just looking at all kind of opportunities so we could possibly entertain an RFP for PPE for our personnel. And that's one of the things that people look at as well when they come to an organization. Do they have good equipment to do their jobs with? We want to be safe, we want to be efficient, and then we want to make sure that we get the people what they need so they can do their jobs and then get out of their way. So we'll be discussing possible RFP procurement stuff, going through the proper channels before we get there though, with PPE. Just want to bring it to the board, not board, but the committee, to let them know that we're in need of upgrading our PPE.
Okay.
And it's just like the turnout ensemble, the turnout pants, the coat, the jacket, helmets, stuff like that. Chief Allen?
I'm here, sir.
Is there a need to upgrade our PPE for your field personnel?
Yes, sir, most definitely. They're fighting fire, or they're training, and yours is getting to the point where we're starting to reach its expiration date. So yes, sir.
Okay.
And so the supply chain, and it takes time to get stuff down. So we want to get ahead of that and go ahead and strongly pursue opportunities to get those equipment. I think right now, how long does it take to get a helmet, Chief Allen?
They're looking at anywhere between 12 and 18 months. Depending on who you go with and the style that you're getting and everything. We got lucky on the last one, and I think we're waiting on a shipment right now, sir.
So we've ordered stuff, we still gonna need other stuff. And speaking of PPE, last item, what about the extrication equipment? What's the use of it? And tell us about that, Chief Allen, about extrication, that we're looking at extrication equipment, PPE equipment, really.
Okay, so our squad unit, the specialty unit that rides the squad, we're looking at getting them out of our primary firefighting gear, the bunker gear, and putting them into extrication gear. So over the past month, I've gotten with a vendor to get some extrication gear. Right now, the supply chain is still hurting us. We're in the middle of still trying to get some. We were shipped some normal sizes, but other sizes are taking anywhere between now and probably won't get some until January. So we're still waiting on that order. Hopefully the supply chain will shorten up for us. I did get a small shipment in already, but just waiting for the additional stuff to come in. It's going to take about January.
Okay.
So as y'all can see, a lot go into that. And we have our NFPA requirements and everything that we have to adhere to, and of course our safety requirements, the county requirements, and all that to keep people in good, safe environments. So we'll hear more about some of our initiatives, what we're trying to do to get that gear in.
Chief, what about the Deputy Chief Allen? What about respirators? How are they looking? Are they on back order a long time as well? And I know your air packs.
Chief Lugo would know more about that than I would, ma'am.
Okay. Chief Lugo, can you tell me a little bit about the respirators and the air packs?
Air packs, last I heard, there was not a big lead time on air packs.
Okay.
As normal business, if we did order air packs, it would usually take about 3 months to get them anyway. Because it's very rare for a manufacturer to have a lot of air packs just in boxes. A lot of them are made when you order them or finished. So usually about 3 months for air packs.
Well, speaking of air packs, we purchased some back in 2015, and it's time to be purchased again.
Okay.
We didn't get the best out there in 2015, and as a matter of fact, the company that manufactured and produced the ones that we have now, they started looking at other initiatives and started doing other things. So that's been a challenge, right, Chief Lugo, in terms of getting those repaired and getting parts and stuff like that. So we'll be looking at replacing those air packs. We got that in our new budget coming up. And also we're looking at some sponsor opportunities as well. But that's been a challenge. We did they had an air pack committee when I came here, and we've reinstituted that committee and looking at some of the data they did and all. So we'll be certainly making a purchase. And those packs cost around $5,000 to $6,000, I think, per bottle. So you figure time 200 people, that's a lot of money. CFO business, that's a lot of money. That's a big purchase. It's like $1 million to $1.5 million worth of air packs and stuff, and training and all that stuff. We're certainly be looking at that as well.
Okay, thank you. Because we're always managing the unexpected, and we certainly don't have time to get ready. We have to stay ready. So, okay.
My team, when you stay ready, what you got to do? You ain't got to do what?
And gotta get ready.
Right. All right. We appreciate you all bringing this information to the committee, and I know you're working on it because it's a lot of, again, supply and demand is a problem. It's been a problem, especially during this inflationary period, and also with the pandemic that we just had. So get ahead of it. Thank you.
And we're trying to be through by 1 hour, so we got 2 minutes. Jason, and I'm sorry, E91 director, then EMA.
Remember, we started at 2:05, so you got more time.
Okay. All right, E91 director, are you out there? Anybody from E911?
I am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioner Guider and Deputy County Administrator Perry and citizens of Douglas County. Since Chief has rushed me along here, let me go ahead and get started. Our 911 update. So we forwarded the support user and maintenance agreement for our countywide radio system project to county legal. And this agreement is in the amount of $8,990,010. And it will be added to the work session agenda for October 17th, 2022. This morning, I had an opportunity to attend a Motorola Trunk Users Group meeting where I actually met the regional radio system administrator who is actually on that Cobb County core. As you may recall, I think in our last meeting or the meeting prior to, We talked about Douglas County being on Cobb County's core for that radio system project. And so things will be upcoming with regards to that project. Our second update is something that we are very excited about. On May 3rd, 2021, there was a special ceremony where Governor Kemp signed into law Logan's Law. It was actually the official code of Georgia annotated 38.3.182 that was amended for Logan Stewart, who is severely autistic and has additional special needs. And it went into effect July 1st, 2021. And what it does is it creates a voluntary database of special needs residents that can be accessed by first responders when responding to calls. It involves collecting, storing, retrieving, and disseminating information voluntarily that is submitted to us as the public safety answering point for Douglas County. It indicates whether or not an individual has physical, mental, or neurological condition that impedes their ability to communicate with any law enforcement officer or emergency responder. Our targeted date is to roll this out to the public is November 1st. And we targeted specifically November 1st because we just got this from the state last week. Because it's ahead of the holidays, which typically does result in more mental health crisis calls. And also, we wanted to work with communications on a press release so that we could properly get that rolled out to our citizens. So we're pretty excited about that because we believe that will be essential to our public safety responders, and we also wanted to have an opportunity to meet with them so that we can discuss, how this would look. And this is totally voluntary, but it is something that will be offered to our citizens to call in, and then we collect that information and we put it in our computer-aided dispatch system and disseminate that information out to our public safety responders. Also, during the month of August, we processed over 16,499 calls for service. And lastly, as you recall, we had a serialized asset tracking software that was executed and signed on July 29, 22. We're happy to say that it will be rolled out the week of the 17th of October, where our radio systems administrator will track all of those serialized assets. So those are all those radios that we have throughout the county with all of our public safety entities. So you have Sheriff, Fire, EMS, Douglasville Police, School Police, Fleet 911, Animal Control, and all of our entities. And it's about 1,600 radios. And so our radio systems administrator will be able to track those assets, because those radios are about $5,000 a piece. So it's important to be able to know where they are and who they are housed with, so that we can keep better account of the county's assets. And that's it for me. Any questions?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I heard $8 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Explain what that is now.
Okay, so the countywide radio system, came on board in 2020. And so that's the countywide public safety radio system. I believe the county spending Director Milholland's on here. He was one of the originals that was around when that system came on board. It's about $14 million it was paid for with that 2016 SPLOST.
Right.
Well, at the time we had a 3-year warranty, and that warranty is set to expire on February 28th. And so with that warranty, Motorola actually has a support user agreement and a maintenance agreement that will allow for the life of that project, which is 15 years. So the 3 years that we had the warranty, and then the 12-year user agreement and the maintenance agreement, which is required by us as we are on Cobb County's core. So we occupy that system, and it requires that we get continual software updates, that we are protected against any kind of cyber attacks, and that we are able to repair those radio sites in case anything happens. And so that is the agreement. It's over a span of 12 years. Each year is a different price point. And so after months of going back and forth with Motorola and TUSA, which was the consulting company that the county hired, the agreement was the price point was set at $8,990,000. Last year it was presented in December at the December 13th work session. That was prior to my coming on board, and the price at that time was 8.5 million. But the discussion was tabled. But now we're at the point where we have to have the agreement in order to be on Cobb County's court, and so it's
Is that a one-time 8 million? I mean, do you have to pay it in 1 year or
no,
spread
ma'am.
it out?
No, ma'am.
Does it come out of the general fund, or does it come out of 911?
It's general fund, because it's the county-wide radio system. So it doesn't, I will be presenting it, but it is a county-wide radio system. So all of public safety benefits from this radio system. It doesn't belong to 911 specifically.
Does it go over to other entities like the cities and things?
Yes. So with the radio sites, there are 9 different radio sites, and but seven belongs to the county, 2 do not. So 1 belongs to Cobb and 1 belongs to the city of Douglasville. So the city of Douglasville is the prime site, and so they allow us as the county to reside on their radio site, and it allows our public safety entities to be able to talk freely and into buildings, and it allows also for the sheriff's office to be able to talk to Douglasville PD, which prior to 2020 they could not easily and readily do, which put both the public and our public safety responders at risk.
Okay, let's get back to that 8 million though.
Okay.
You never said how it's financed or paid.
Yes, it's paid actually through the general fund.
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And so it's over a period. So the amount is broken out over the next 12 years.
12
So
years.
year 4, the payment will look something like a little over 600,000, and so it'll be incremental. And the agreement also allows an out clause for the county, provided that the county provide Motorola a 90-day written notice, and there's no penalty for that.
Does it start out real high?
It starts out at its lowest, and it increases over the years.
Oh, it increases.
It increases, yes, ma'am.
What's the lowest?
The lowest is 600, I believe 93,000.
So it's going to be in your budget for 2023?
Well, it was sent to our CFO and to the finance director and to Deputy County Administrator Perry, because it is not in the 911 budget.
And we can't use any of the enterprise money from 911.
No, ma'am.
No grants out there. I guess I must have been dozing when this was discussed back last year, because I don't remember this, but anyway. So over the next 12 years, and it's an escalating annual fee.
Yes, and so the 12-year agreement is a standard agreement with Motorola. We actually received some other county agreements from Motorola. It's a standard agreement because it's actually cheaper for the 12-year agreement than it would be for a 2 or 3 year agreement. It's substantially more expensive for a short-term agreement with Motorola. And like I said, it is required to be on Cobb County SCORE because we have to ensure that the radio sites are not cyber attacked and that they receive the proper support and that that the updates and things that are required for the radio system.
Okay. That's a shocker though, when you said 8
Yes,
million.
I've been trying to gently
We just paid
discuss this
million
over
for
the
the
month.
system.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Any other questions on that?
Director Harley, what did you say the payment would be this coming year in 2023?
600.
Let me-
600,000.
I'm gonna-
Yeah, I remember the conversation from last year. Yeah, I remember it. But I was just wondering, the first payment is 600,000.
Yes, ma'am. It is. Let me see.
I believe it's 694.
694. Thank
I was
you,
about to say
Rosalind.
600.
I knew that it was somewhere in there.
Okay. So Rosalind, we prepared accordingly.
That is correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're prepared, Commissioner Guider.
Okay.
I
We've
remember
been
the
talking
conference.
about it, Commissioner Guy.
We've been talking about it. My poor
We've
brain.
been working real hard behind the scenes on this thing.
I don't know how I do it, but I try to remember as much as possible. It's hard, but I get there sometimes.
Speaking of that, Director Harley, when discussions picked back up, what was that figure? But we couldn't even consider that. What was that figure?
Oh, the initial figure was 11 million. 11,998,000, and so we had Motorola go back to the table. So it's in which they had said when it was presented back in December that the price would of course increase as has everything increased this year from that 8.5 million if it wasn't signed by 12/31/2021, and it wasn't. It was the discussion was actually tabled, so we were able to get them down from almost 12 million to the 8.9, which they initially started out at 8.5 on last year. So,
Yes.
Okay.
Well, sounds good. Yeah, and basically, like Director Harley said, that system was bought with SPOS funding, and so that's why we was comfortable with it for so many years. But now that time is running out because we got to look at the maintenance stuff and all that. So, all righty. Well, no other questions on that. EMA update, Mr. Howland. What about the storm? Is it all over now? Can we relax or what?
Until the next one. We of course we feel very well. South Florida is in bad shape in a lot of places in that Punta Gorda, now Fort Myers and everything. I've been to that area before and actually talked to the emergency management folks out before this storm, and they knew it'd come one day. I don't think they knew it'd come this quick, but it's just one of those. Because we monitor it here because we never know how those tropical storms, hurricanes are going to affect us. Depends on where they come in and how they travel up towards us, whether we get on the dirty side of the storm or not, depending on what kind of weather we're going to get from us. We monitored it closely as it came up and tried to give out information to all the commissioners and we talked to our local newspaper and make sure they had information. We included them on any weather briefings that we gave out so they could help distribute between, and of course our communications team also. But we got lucky, but South Florida did not, and just keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers because they're going to need this. That's going to be years and years of recovery there. And other EMA news, we dive team went out last week. I think it was last week with for the sheriff's office request investigate a possible vehicle in the Chattahoochee River. It ended up not being, but that's just run by volunteers. That's always, I always want to give them credit for. These are business owners, people in the community that give up. They stopped their business and came out and helped us out. And they do that. I always want to give them credit for what they do for no money from us. And so I appreciate what they do and their skill set that they bring to the county. We also did a RFP, and we rated those this is for the debris removal, in case we were to have a big storm that was debris generating. We picked a vendor to recommend to the board. We'll get out on the next couple work sessions, so the board can see if they agree with our the committee that we used to pick the debris pickup company, and see if the board recommends with our recommendation. And if they do, of course, what we'll have to do on this, and this is a little bit weird because this is a pre-positioned contract. We're picking a company to help us pick up debris before a storm's ever hit. But when the storm's here, it's a little bit late trying to bid this out. You're talking about debris pickup can be millions and millions of dollars. So you need to kind of know what you're going to be paying per cubic yard, ahead of time, and you're not frantically trying to make these decisions after you're hit. So these pre-position contracts are important. So what we'll do after we bring it to the board of commissioners, if they agree with it, we'll get the legal department and the preferred vendor to work out the details of their contract. So it'd be one of those where there's not a contract now because nobody's been awarded a bid, and you can't get a contract until you do. But we have with purchase and procurement's help, we've got an idea of what they'll be charging, what it's what it entails, and who had the highest technical scores. So once we get that, like I said, we'll get that, we'll get that vendor and our legal team to work out the final details. And of course, we'll never have to pay for it until we call and say, hey, come to help us. We need help. Hopefully we'll never need them, because once you get to that point, you've been hit very hard and it's about to get real expensive. And we've seen before how long it takes to get refunds a lot of times from, even if you are declared, it's not a quick thing. So it can cost the county a lot of money real quick when you get into debris. That debris is one of the most expensive things. That and bridges and roads. That'll put you in that'll put your county in the poorhouse real quick after disaster. Then you got to kind of upfront the money until you can get it back. So I always try to be upfront on that. And other than just normal operations, well, I think we got a little bit. They increased our money from the Tropical Storm Zeta a while back from like 85, like 75% up to 90. And I dropped that check. We got that check in. I dropped it off of finances at about $6,000. Well, I can't remember. I think it's $4,500 or something like that. But it's still more money that the county gets back into the general fund. And I'm trying to make sure of that. And we did put in a grant we approved today, as you saw at the Board of Commissioners meeting, to put in for a grant for weather radios for our citizens. If we get awarded that grant, I'll be reaching out to the commissioners to see how we want to try to reach out to the lower income folks in their district. How we want to do that, try to get radios. If it's we get the grant, and honestly get them in, how to get it out to the public. And for those, I got some ideas, but I'll discuss it with you, one of the commissioners, on how they want to try to get those radios and they're distributed to those citizens in their community.
Any questions for EMA?
No questions, but I do have a comment. Thank you so much, Director Holland, for emphasizing the point that we can't control Mother Nature. So that's why it's vitally important that we have a healthy rainy day fund, because we have to upfront the money, as you just mentioned, when we have a catastrophic storm, snowstorm, what have you. And if we don't have a healthy rainy day fund or contingency fund, we are in trouble. You say it can put us in bad shape if we don't have that healthy fund. So thank you for re-emphasizing that to the citizens of Douglas County. I've been, folks said, Chairman, got too much money. I said, you never have too much money because you're managing the unexpected. We don't know what's going to happen, and you cannot control Mother Nature. So thank you, Director, for everything that you do. And also, Director Harley, thank you as well.
Yeah, can I mention that? If I could say something real quick, I know we're running over time here. But on that radio, so the Director Harley's came in after the systems are replaced and taken that and done an excellent job with it. I tried to support her a little bit behind the scenes, but she's been impressive with what she's been able to do. That and our former consultant, still our consultant, Tusa Consorting, they've stepped up. We've not actually paid them since they negotiated the contract. They've not batted an eye about coming back to the, so they're one of the vendors that you can look at and say they came back after the fact and helped us keep Motorola. And like Motorola's a good company, but you gotta have somebody watching, to help you with it. And they've done a good job. But I just want to really point out that Tusa and Director Harley both have done an excellent job on trying to get this great radio agreement. I've been impressed with both of them.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Director Harley.
All right, we'll move on to some ambulance billing news. Do we have good news, Melissa, or we have sad news?
She's always sad.
Oh, can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Actually, I do have some good news. For the month of September, we had 1,519 responses. And out of those responses, we had a total of 802 transports, averaging 50 calls a day. We pulled in over 382,000 for the month of September. So last year, the total payments were 264,000 for September of 2021, which gives us a 7% increase this year. Our current total revenue is $2,402,947.73, which is a 9.2 increase from last year. Did anyone have any questions?
That was good news.
Very good. Good news. Thank you all for capturing.
Thank you. I see Ms. Vivian smiling, so that's definitely good news.
Always.
All right.
She's smiling. It's good news. Very good.
All right. Well, we're continuing our efforts to make sure we do our best with collections and all these good things that we can be good stewards of our citizens' money and resources. Blaze newsletter. Melissa, you want to mention the Blaze newsletter along with September events?
Yes, I can do both. All of our monthly issues are located on our county website at celebratedouglascounty.com. It's under services. Then you go under fire and emergency services, and we have a Blaze newsletter section. We also post all our newsletters on our Facebook page, and our latest issue is up for the month of September. I'm sorry. We do have a new volume. I did want to mention that. So we are on volume 2, issue 1 now. And that was just released on Friday, September 30th. So that's exciting news. We are on volume 2, and I have been working with the newsletter for a year now. So I just wanted to bring that up. We do have a lot of information on there, such as important information from 911, EMA, our EMS chief, deputy chiefs, a field overview from our battalion chiefs, and more additional information and events. Moving along with the September events, we've had a lot of events for the month of September. On Wednesday, September 7th, the Douglas County Fire and EMS Department had a special recognition event at Station 2, where we recognized Captain Zach Meyer for Employee of the Month of August and the Department Secretary. We also had the Fire Chief Citizen Award, which was the Communications Media Specialist, Ms. Sierra McCoy. On Friday, September 9th, we had Boris Lee and Jeremy Driver, both graduated from the Georgia Fire Academy. Also on Friday, September 9th, the Douglas County Fire and EMS Department was invited to the first responder lunch from Metro Garage. They hosted the 7th annual first responder lunch at Hunter Park. We've had one of our battalion chiefs actually go into the water dunk, so that was really fun and exciting. On Saturday, September 10th, we had a friendly basketball game at Derelict Park. On Thursday, September 15th, Station 8 was invited to judge a chili cook-off at the Birches at Villa Rica. Unfortunately, Lieutenant Reckner was not unable to join, but we had Deputy Chief Phillips and the Department Secretary and one of our new hires go and taste test. We also joined the September Saturdays where we had a touch a truck experience. We had fire safety out there, first aid, and we just enjoyed the September Saturdays out there with the community. Let's see. On September 23rd, we had the wet down and pushing service at Station 6 with Vice Chairman and District 2 Commissioner Kelly Robinson, where we welcomed into service Engine 6. We also did the Fire Chief Citizen Award, where we recognized Miss Suzette Miller for the Fire Chief Citizen Award. And we also recognized for the month of September, the Employee of the Month for the field, who was Lieutenant Joshua Austin, and Employee of the Month for administration was Miss Paula Austin. And that is all the events we had.
Thank you, Melissa. Y'all can see we were really, really busy in September. But the months prior to that, we was more busy than September. So we've been busy. One thing I want to add is we constantly trying to find ways to get our people trained. And right now, Chief Lugo, we have anybody down at the Fire Academy being trained? The Georgia Fire Academy?
I gotta look at my list. I believe we got 3 people at the academy right now. The names escape me, but so far they're doing well. We've had no issues with them. They should be done in about 4 to 5 weeks, I believe. They'll be done.
How much does it cost to train a firefighter?
It's 8 weeks or 12-week rookie school. And the last time we did the numbers, it was about $5,000 to do a rookie class to train one fireman. So that doesn't include equipment or anything. That's just instructor and time.
So we like I said, we stay versatile. We have 3 EMTs down there in their training right now. So when they come back, they'll be able to do firefighting as well as their EMT, and that's just much better for our community and everything. So we're always trying to find ways to keep everything going because training never stops.
Never does.
And what I want to do this last item, I want to talk about the Fire Prevention Week proclamation that we're looking at doing the next Board Commission meeting. We're also going to have Douglas County High School students participate with us. They recently had a fire at their school and everybody made it out safely and all that good stuff. So they'll be able to share that proclamation with us. And the proclamation we're talking about, over 100 years ago, we've been observing the Fire Prevention Week. And former President Calvin Coolidge, back in 1925, actually made it official. So it's one of the longest observance in the history of the United States. So we'll be looking at, it started in 1922, so we'll be looking at 100 years celebration of fire prevention. And in closing, on our end, Chief John Reed, of all the years he's dealt with fire, professional all across the country, United States, he's going to share something with us about Fire Prevention Week and anything he might want to say, because we really appreciate Chief Reed taking our time to be with us. Chief Reed?
Yes, sir. Fire Prevention Week is something that we should all pay attention to because all across the country, there's been fires that involved so many lives. And it's very important that we take a look at that and recognize it, because death and destruction can happen anywhere, at any time, at any place. So I always say, just be careful what you do, be careful how you do it, especially when it comes to your home fires and your apartment fires. You know, we always talk about people grilling out. You look at the fire grills at apartment complexes now, has been outlawed because of Fire Prevention Week. So I always say, you know, you just have to be careful out there. And Chief Jolivet, I want to say you all are doing a great job. It's just been very educational. This meeting been very educational, and we look forward to the next one.
And with that, Madam Chair, we'd like to turn it back over to you. Sorry for the time lapse. I think we went over 1 or 2 minutes, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't have my glasses on.
1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. It was well worth it. We had a lot of information that was very beneficial today, and it was really very educational. And we are doing a lot of things in fire and EMS. We have moved some mountains. That tanker is just extraordinary. I'm just excited about it. Our inventory software, everything is just coming, it's moving. I can feel the momentum within this committee. So we're just not wasting time. We are making some progress. So anyone else on the committee, you have any remarks or comments that you would like to make? If not, guess what? This meeting is adjourned, and have a very good day. And thank you again, Fire and EMS Committee. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.